look at that. Mike Johnson took about a week to show us where his true loyalties lie. And folks, it's not with Jesus. He's introduced a bill with the emergency funding for Israel that the Biden administration has asked for, but he's tied that funding to cuts to the IRS. He's saying basically you can have those $14 billion in aid that you want, but you got to cut that same amount from the Internal Revenue Service. Why is that so problematic? Well, for two reasons. First of all, emergency aid packages by definition don't need to be offset by spending cuts. That has never been a thing. Regardless of what you think of this or any other emergency aid, once Congress approves it, it doesn't need to be paid for by cuts. That's not the way it goes. But even if it did, cutting funding from the IRS is the last way you'd want to go. Because guess what? That actually loses us money. It adds money to our deficit. We have tons of data to show now that when you give IRS extra funding and they are able to take that money to go after wealthy tax cheats who cost more to audit than the less wealthy tax cheats, they bring in more money than they spend on these audits. The agency pulls in $3.18 for each dollar spent auditing the top 1% of income earners, and they bring in over $6 for every dollar they spend auditing the top 0.1%. Crazy! So someone smarter than me can do the math on that, but by cutting $14 billion in funding from the IRS, we are losing exponentially more money than we are saving. But Mike Johnson doesn't care about that. He cares about his rich corporate donors. That's all any Republican cares about. Those donors are furious that the IRS is finally coming after them the same way for the longest time it came after middle and lower income earners. They want it to stop, and they've told the Republicans they own to get that done. And as we know, when wealthy donors say jump, Republicans say how high. And this guy has shown that he is no exception. They're nothing if not consistent.